Hi guys, my name is Dr. Rocker and today I'll show you how to draw Tylor Kirkham's Omniman. Let's go! Before we start the actual drawing, we will take a look at Tylor's anatomy. Okay, here you can see the epic piece Tylor did for a comic book cover, which we will try to recreate today. Now I want to find out the gesture of this cool drawing, and therefore I will turn down the opacity of the drawing, use an extra layer and do this. I will use these help lines in reverse to see on what this character is built on. So you and me both will be able to understand the anatomy we need to use for recreating this drawing. It's not a complicated pose, but with all the blood and details, it's easier to use this method for showing the basics. The drawing is very bulky, with very broad shoulders, which I really like. And just for completion, I also draw in the other arm. So here we have all the proportions, and you can already see Tylor Kirkham knows what he's doing. It's just a perfect gesture drawing. So let's draw this thing ourselves. And of course we start off with a line in the middle, which is to be crossed with the line for the shoulders. This is really huge, as you can see. This is an 11 by 17 inch piece of paper, so really big one. Then we start to sketch in the body, the upper body. And yeah, here we define the shoulder a little bit more. And I always have to check a little bit so I can see if everything is where it needs to be. We also drew in the underwear, and there's the chest muscle already. Chest muscles are really big. I usually don't draw them that huge, but of course I want to try and do it the way Tylor Kirkham does it, which I really like. When I started to look at his work for the first time, I was like, his style is a little bit too cartoony, but that was just in the beginning. Actually, I really love it now. And as you know, I love those bulky characters, and I do them myself all the time in this bulky style, so that's pretty neat. I had to erase this arm quite a couple of times, you will see, although I might have even cut out one or two times when I had to erase the arm. Sometimes you have to go back and forth. In this case, mostly because this one is so big, such a big drawing, I had to get used to these oversized proportions in this big way. But you can see the shoulder muscle as well as the bicep. You can draw them with circles, really big circles. He draws everything very round, also the chest muscles. They are not as jagged as I usually would draw them. And here we need to get the hand done. The hand needs to be big enough because it's looking towards us, but also not too big. I want to stick to the original drawing, of course. The line right there is where the collarbones are, as you can see just now. And I guess we will take care of the head next. And if I remember correctly, I started off doing it way too big. But in my apology, not just because of the big size, it's also not so easy to draw a big thing like that with a camera in front of your eyes. It's always in the way. I didn't, man, this is way too big. But I never found out a way where it's not disturbing at all. But that's just the way it is when you want to do YouTube videos. Okay, now we can see this approach is way better. The head is bent backwards a little bit, which means the jaw is broader than the forehead, because the head is tilted back a little bit. This is the line for the eyes, the line for the nose, and the line for the mouth. Yeah, there's the neck muscles, and the other neck muscles. And yeah, it already looks pretty cool. You can already see the head is bent backwards. And by the way, the first part of the video, this one right here, I show you in real time, so you can draw along. This is the most important part, as always, the gesture drawing. And I'm using a Strathmore 200 series paper and a 2B pencil. I like to use a 2B because it's very fluid to work with. But if you're having trouble with picking the right pencil, go and check out my video on which pencil you should use for your drawings, because I really made a video where I went in depth to show you what's really important about the pencils. And as I also remember, I always say, if I remember correctly, but you have to know, I drew this, I think 3 days ago, and then I had to stop and do some tattoos. Then I drew some other things, the next part, and then well, I don't want to brabble around too much, but I had to use like 3 days till I got this drawing done, because I have so much other stuff to do in between. Anyway, what I wanted to say is I will also erase the muscles, the stomach muscles, because he actually did it otherwise, and I wanted to stick as much to the original as possible. The thing is, it's really hard to see everything properly because of all the blood and gore on the original drawing, which we will draw as well, of course, but it's hard to find out the actual drawing. Okay, another go on the arm, because for some reason it didn't fit. I wasn't happy enough with it, but that's the way it is, guys. If you're not happy, just erase it. I know how hard it can be, because very often you're like, well, it doesn't look bad, but it's a bit off. Should I leave it? But no, don't leave it, guys. Don't leave it. Just erase it and try to make it better if there's too much wrong with it. And I know it's very hard to find out how much... Oh my god, I had to do it again. Sorry about that. Yeah, where was I? It's very hard to do those erasings, and it's also very hard to actually find out when everything is correct. But yeah, we all have to go down that road and make mistakes. Very often we only find out bad mistakes after the piece is done, which is very annoying because then it's beyond repair. But yeah, it's just the way it is, and just try to do it right and try to measure it on lines that are correct already, which means in this case I was able to see on the drawing I'm drawing from, the drawing from Tylor Kirkham, where the fist needs to be. So I was able to see, okay, it's like next to the part where the underwear would begin, and so I tried to fit it in where it belongs. Okay, I think we have the basics done good enough. And it was such a struggle because I had to draw so big. I mean, I didn't have to, but I wanted to draw a really big one on this video. And it has been extra troublesome for me because at the moment I'm working at a book, and the things I had to do and had to draw are like really small figurines like these, and in comparison this is really big, so sorry for taking that long. So let's hope that this was the hardest part, and let's move on to all them details. Let's go! Okay, and here we are already starting to put in all these details. You can see the face. It's a very cool face with a black eye. The right eye is a black eye. The ears are very low because the head is bent backwards. If you're interested in learning more about faces and heads, you can check out my how to draw heads tutorial and also my how to draw faces tutorial. And there is the thing I was talking about earlier, where I had to change the stomach muscles again because he's doing this really high up muscle, and I wanted to do it as he did. Of course, the cape needs to be in there, which looks also pretty cool. Just follow along, it's not very hard to do. And as you can see, we're already getting in all the strong blacks with a pencil, just so we know where everything is once we start with all the gore and the blood, because this will mess up the whole drawing big time, because there's so much of it, but you will see that in a minute. You can mark all the bigger areas with an X. You don't have to if you want to make sure that you know where everything needs to be perfectly. Then just fill it out with the pencil. But with the big areas, I like to just do the X, because we will ink this later, and no need to draw it a couple of times. Then we are already at the veins. Very cool veins. They almost look like a tree. Just follow along, and then we need to do rippings in the costume, and also the wounds beneath the rippings. It's not very hard to do, actually. The whole drawing actually wasn't very hard. It looks harder than it is, but you will be able to do it, no worries. You will have a really cool drawing. Just follow along and stick to it. And do as much blood and rippings and gore as I did. Because that's the way it is supposed to look, and it works really, really cool. I learned a lot, actually, because I will use this much blood in lots of my drawings now, I guess. I really like it. It looks a little bit obscene, but it's really cool. And you can see it doesn't stop. And it's not just dripping, it's running from his head and from his wounds. But that's what comics are. They are way larger than life. And what's also very interesting with all the blood, don't do too many drops, but do more jagged line than you would think of. And here I'm already using my Tombow brush pen, the blue one, the hard tip one, to do the line weight. And first I started off with only the blood, then only the veins and the rippings, and only then was I able to work on all the other lines from all the outlines from the drawing, because it's very important to start with the first layer, and the blood is above everything else. Then comes the veins, and then all the rippings, and then the rest of the drawing. Yeah, it looks very confusing at times, of course, but at least when we are done with the strong blacks, you will see the whole drawing will get way less confusing, because you can see everything better. And there we are already. I use a brush pen with a real brush, and yeah, with this one you can be very, very fast. Make sure to move the paper around a lot, and there are not as many strong blacks as you would have in a David Finch drawing, but still some. And now we need to hatch out of the strong blacks, but also do a lot of hatching and cross hatching, so we can define all the shapes. And I was experimenting with the with the rendering here quite a lot. I was using my kind of newfound rendering style, which I'm using for the last couple of months now. More in all directions, not just only following the form, but bringing some more life into the whole drawing with changing the directions of the rendering lines. And if you study the original drawing by Tylor Kirkham, you will see he uses an even messier rendering style than I did right here, and which is also really cool, really lovely style. You can do whatever you like. I wanted to stick to my style a little bit more in this case, because that's just something I don't have to think about. But you can go nuts and try out whatever you like. And if you want to check out more of Tylor Kirkham's work, next to Google search and stuff like that, you can also follow him on Instagram. He has a cool profile, he's posting all the time. So I really highly recommend you to stop by at his Instagram page and give him a follow. And here we go, guys, Tylor Kirkham's Omniman. That's such a cool drawing, I really like it. I would love to color it, but I don't have the time. With having to draw all these pages on my book, there's no time left for doing the coloring on this one. But if you want to color it, let me know down in the comment section. You can send me an email and I will email you back with a scan of this one. And that's about it for today's video. I hope you had fun watching or drawing along. I for sure had a ton of fun drawing in Tylor Kirkham's style. He's really a great artist. And talking about styles, I want you to go now and watch this video. That's where I show you how to find your own style. I give you a lot of tips and tricks how you can achieve that. So see you there, my friends. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell. And don't forget to draw every day. But now, see you there.